just like every time we get together with Mo Egger from ESPN Cincinnati Radio. Hey, Mo. Welcome to the program. How you doing, buddy? How are you doing?
Ron, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Top side of wonderful, as they say. And listen, man, I'm sure you haven't had enough talking about the Bengals, so we'll get there. But I want to open with the Cowboys, if you don't mind, because this came up about the all-in. Everybody's mocking Jerry Jones and all-in. And by the way, I'm not watching ESPN. I'm up in Canada for the summer, but everybody's laughing at Jerry. That's my team, by the way. What do you think about the phrase all-in for the Cowboys and what Jerry means by that?
That's a really good question. I haven't given that much thought, so I'll sort of try to do this on the fly here. That is a franchise where the perception is that it's championship or bust every year, but they haven't won a championship in almost 30 years. And so when that's your track record, anything that is said, anything that is branded, sort of, we roll our eyes at it here, right? Like, you know, I live in Cincinnati where the Cincinnati Reds haven't advanced in the postseason in almost 30 years. And for all of their good intentions, whatever their slogan is, whatever their mottos are, whatever they say they're going to do, well, we kind of laugh at it because the results sort of speak for themselves. And unfortunately, when you're a high-profile franchise and a high-profile owner like Jerry Jones and you haven't won in forever, and it's been, 5 seasons, so almost 3 years, they can say all they want. Invariably, whatever is said is going to be met with an eye roll, and I kind of feel like that's what's happening here.
Well said, Mo. Well said. You are, by the way, our NFL guy, so you have to speak on all things NFL. But let's talk about...
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm letting you know. You're informed of that today. But the AFC North, we talked about that. A year ago at this time, we talked about it being the toughest division in the NFL last year, and I think it proved to be. Is it still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was last year, right? The Bengals finished in last place, and they had a winning record. I mean, if you look at top to bottom in this division, you have 3 coaches who have coached in a Super Bowl and a former coach of the year in Kevin Stefanski. You have a 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. You have a Super Bowl quarterback in Joe Burrow. You have a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson, I still feel like the jury is out, but these are, I think, 4 really good rosters. I don't want to say 4 really good franchises. I'm not sure either the Bengals or Browns deserve that yet, but there's a lot of stability. There's a lot of continuity. There's a lot of star power, and there's a lot of really good competitive rivalry games. I think you can make a case right now that among the 10 best rivalries in the sport, 4 or 5 of them might exist in the AFC North. I'm not sure there's another division that could say that. So yeah, there's star power, there's interesting storylines, there's familiarity, there's continuity, there's some incredible games played between these 2 teams or between these 4 teams. And I think in all 4 cities, there are legitimate hopes that the division can be won. Again, show me many divisions in the NFL where today, in each of the 4 cities, they're talking about that team legitimately having a chance to win it. I think that's happening I know it's happening in Cincinnati. I'm sure it's happening in Cleveland. I'm positive it's happening in Baltimore. And there's no reason to think it's not happening in Pittsburgh, too.
Just dipping in from the comments, Jeremy in Winnipeg says, did Jerry Jones sell his soul for 3 Super Bowls and a dynasty and nothing since? I don't think Jerry Jones has a soul. So, no, he didn't have one to sell. And I'm a Cowboys fan. So,
but isn't it one of the great what ifs in NFL history? What if Jerry Jones' ego doesn't get the best of him and he stays in the relationship with Jimmy Johnson for, let's just say, the remainder of the 90s, right? I know they won a Super Bowl post Jimmy Johnson with Barry Switzer, but to me, that's one of the great what ifs in NFL history. Jimmy Johnson got let go at the end of consecutive Super Bowl titles. What if those 2 figure out a way to forge ahead? What does that look like? What does that look like for the Dallas Cowboys? What does that look like for the legacies? Jimmy Johnson's in the Hall of Fame. Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame. But what does that look like for the legacies of both men? We'll never know. Interesting what ifs in NFL history.
Thanks for picking the scab, Mo. I'm aware of it. In hockey terms in Canada, ours is this. What if Oilers owner Peter Pocklington didn't get strapped for cash and have to sell Wayne Gretzky to the LA Kings, which is basically what he did? They'd already won 4 cups in 5 years. How many would they have won if they'd held on to Wayne Gretzky? That's one of the greatest Canadian what-ifs of what you're saying in the NHL.
Sure.
But let me just give you this. I have not seen any coverage of the Bengals on NFL Network. So tell me, what are the storylines coming out of training camp, if you don't mind?
Well, the main storyline all offseason long has been Joe Burrow's return from another injury. And, he's going into a season where it's year 5. He's had 4 NFL seasons. 2, he's played the full year, and the Bengals have ended the season in at least the AFC Championship game. The other 2 has ended prematurely for Joe Burrow. He has gotten hurt, and the Bengals have ended the season not playing in the playoffs. And so it's year 5. Is it unfair to say that Joe Burrow is injury prone? Yes. Is it fair if we deal with something similar this year to go down the road of talking about how injuries could perhaps derail his career and everything he could make of it? And also this franchise, which has tied everything to Joe Burrow. Absolutely. So all eyes on him. The good news is he's, by every account, looked terrific in practice. He's going to play in the preseason opener on Saturday night, barring something unforeseen. And so he is going through really his first normal-ish training camp of his NFL career. That's really good. I think from a headline-grabbing standpoint, the biggest storyline is Jamar Chase is not yet practicing. Jamar is under contract with the Bengals for 2 more years, but he wants one of those wide receiver contracts akin to what Justin Jefferson got in Minneapolis. And so the question is, he's there. He's not holding out. He's holding in, which means he's at the facility. He's going through meetings, but he's not practicing. Is Jamar Chase willing to miss games in an effort to force the Bengals into giving him that long-term contract? That's obviously a storyline. And then I think more mechanically, look, for all the talk of Joe Burrow's injury and for as much as this team gets talked about for its offensive weaponry, this team was a disaster on defense last year. Worst in the NFL in giving up explosive plays. Trey Hendrickson provided a great pass rush. He was the only guy. They were bad against the run last season. They've retooled the secondary. They've of their defensive line. The Bengals don't, right? They don't need a defense that ranks in the top 5 of every category because of that offense, but it can't be as bad as it was last year. And so I think on a more granular level, what they've done in the offseason to tweak the personnel and what they do during the preseason to have a unit that's better than what we saw last year is a major, major storyline. And then for the team as a whole, look, the Bengals the last 2 years started 0-2. Last year they started 1-3. 2 seasons ago they started 2-3. You don't want to have to do that again. You don't want to have to constantly play catch up, especially when you're in a division that's competitive. And so what can the Bengals do to best balance keeping the players healthy and maintaining their availability while at the same time putting this team in a better position to hit the ground running week 1? Because the last 2 years early in the season, this team has played very, very poorly, and they've put themselves behind the 8 ball early in the season.
Got to run, but I'm hoping to see you at Super Bowl. Are you only going if the Bengals are in, or what?
New Orleans is my favorite American city. So I want the Bengals to be there. But if they're not,
okay.
Can I go on the Rod Pedersen show dime?
Yeah, you actually can, because through cruiseamerica.com, I'm renting an RV, and I'm driving up from South Florida to New Orleans, and people are just climbing on board. So Serena, my gal, said, I guess we're going from a normal size to a maxi size because the party's getting bigger and bigger. We're going to park because, yeah. It looks like we need to talk, Mo, but that's the plan. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in. On the Rod Pedersen show dime, I'll do anything. No problem at all. I'm in.
All right, buddy. All right. Keep it going. Our viewers love you, Mo. Keep it up, man. Talk to you soon.
I love you, Rod. It's good to see you, man. Thank you.
Love you too, pal. The great Mo Egger, ESPN Cincinnati Radio. He's so good. Can't you just tell by listening to him for a few minutes? The guy's good.